Think sideways. Learn to cross-pollinate and collaborate. Collaboration is absolutely the key. None of us, nobody in this room works on their own, no matter what you say. If you're the greatest writer in the world, you've still got an editor. If you're a musician and you're a performer, you've still got a producer. If you are the world's greatest designer, you've still got a huge team backing you up. So nobody works on their own. We fervently believe in sharing this with our students so they go into a situation knowing that they can get their bit done, but they've got to be looking around to see who else is going to be working on this. On the left, you can see a project in progress that we did with the Chinese brand Li Ning. We're very international. Li Ning, who are the biggest sportswear company in China, which makes them a pretty big sportswear company, they came to us because they were brilliant at sportswear, you know, the stuff you do sport in, but they had no clue about how to do streetwear. So they said, what do we do? How do we do this? So we said, well, we can design it for you, but if that's all we do, then I think you're going to be foundering a little bit. So why don't we design it for you and bring in our fashion merchandising teams to create a merchandising plan? So we can not only tell you what to make, but we'll tell you why you're making it and where you should sell it. Of course, they were over the moon about it. So we did that. We did the collection. We just sent our designers over to Li Ning in Beijing last week, actually, and I saw them just before I was leaving, and it was a phenomenal success. Li Ning are over the moon about it. Of course, I don't know what they're going to do next season when they ask us to do it again, and we say no. But we'll see about that. Next to that, you can see some classical musicians. Once again, on the Louis Vuitton project, when we repurposed all their samples and we made these couture creations, we didn't just make outfits. We used a classical music ensemble through that one day to inspire the students. And then the students designed the outfits for the musicians to wear. So they had to even consider the specifics of what does a cello player need to be able to do, or a violinist, or a pianist. And you can see three of the musicians there. They then, of course, had a classical music concert a week later. So we love the idea of not doing one thing and not doing two, but doing three. Seize the medium. Experiment in everything. I was delighted that this was one of the WGSN trends. Mobile technology, intelligent materials, biomimicry, renewable energies. I'm delighted to be able to tell you that I am not an expert on all of this, but I know someone who is. This is a book, Fashionable Technology. It's the Bible of this subject at the moment. It was written by Sabine Seymour. I'm very proud to be able to announce that Sabine joined us this month as a full-time faculty. So we now have on our books the leading exponent of fashionable technology in the world. She's connected with everybody. This is the most amazing, futuristic thinking technology. This is, I mean, of course, the military are driving a lot of it. We're interested in the fashion side of that. But if there are health benefits, etc., I mean, the military have technology now where they have garments that, if they're breached in any way, so if the soldier is somehow compromised, the garment reports automatically to the medic and the commanding officer without the soldier having to say anything, which is amazing. So, of course, you can apply that to people who have disabilities, etc., and people in hospitals. So we think there are all kinds of applications way beyond fashion. But, of course, with the colossal brands that drive fashion, there's a lot of money in the research there, much more so than in, you know, for medicine, etc. So we feel like there's a lot more to it than just fashionable technology. Here's one of my favorites. You never leave Parsons. We are a fashion mafia of students, alumni, friends, fans, leaders, influencers, historical figures, and amazing faculty. Everywhere I go, I'll meet somebody who's either gone to Parsons, is going to Parsons. This morning I met two people who've got children at Parsons right now. In the creative world, what we like to say is, wherever you are, look around you. Someone from Parsons is watching you. As an example of the kind of people I'm talking about, we've got Isaac, Donna, Jason, Anna, Mark, Tom. The list goes on and on and on. We're absolutely at the forefront. Of course, I don't claim that we create designers at Parsons. We certainly don't. We facilitate the development of designers at Parsons. The best students come to us because they know what we do, and the best students become the best designers. Live irreverently. Always provoke, be quirky, have fun. This is great fun. I mean, I'm having fun right now. I get to come to Brazil for 4 days as part of my job. So if you're not having fun, you're not doing your best work. We tell our students that all the time. If they're miserable, if they're working too hard, they're down in the dumps, they're really not creating their best work. Now, the world had a bit of a miserable year last year, so in our own little way, Parsons tried to do something to make people feel better. we came up with a campaign called Fuck the Recession. You can see Dear Joan Collins there. We set a challenge for students to create posters to make people feel better. There was no motive apart from let's just feel a little bit better. We fly posted New York City with these posters. So overnight, everywhere you looked on building sites and advertising hoardings, there were these posters. Everyone was hugely offended, and we were delighted because we're a school, we're not a corporation. What were they going to do? Not buy our product? So you've got to be having fun. So the last bit of advice we give to our students is learn those points and then disregard them. Because everyone in this room and in the other 4 rooms who is a creative person, they pretty much do all that by instinct. They don't have to think about it. They just do it. It just becomes second nature. But certainly from my point of view, throughout my career, it's been really useful for me to think about those different things. You know, they've occurred to me at different times, but they never go away. And I would argue anyone that they're never not true. They're really important. We live by them. And you know what? If I come and do this again next year, they're probably going to change. But that's okay. They'll evolve. You know, we never stand still. So I'm now going to show you another quick film. This is our BFA students, excuse me, our BFA students, I mentioned earlier on, they have to know their craft. They have to create collections. You're going to see a snapshot now of the kind of collections they create. And the Parsons Fashion Benefits, which is a huge event, 1,000 people in a room, including Anna Windsor and Mark Jacobs and all the people I've talked about before, supporting the students and providing scholarships for them, because we don't believe that you should have to pay for your fashion education. So, a film.
Fashion design isn't a rock star career. It's something you have to love.
I mean, honored, but it's really an honor to be here with the students, and it's so incredible.
The curriculum is one of the hardest I've ever been through. That includes reitor training.
Today we're representing our collections. The 12 of us, I'm one of 12, are Designer of the Year nominations, and we're presenting to a panel of people from the industry and just to view our work as well as our portfolios.
It's exciting because you see everyone's true colors, like everyone does them, what they do best to the max, because no one ever really knows when they'll get a chance to do this again.
I think there's a sensibility that, one has to be rather commercial, but I think, creativity really is what stands out.
I like the idea of supporting the arts. I think it's so important. People sometimes undervalue the whole creative process.
I would love to see someone who understands the modern sensibility and clothes that not only are beautiful, but that function well.
I always kind of look for like a sense of collection and, a really strong direction.
And I also look for that spirit that you really can't teach. They have it or they don't.
Give me something new, give me something that isn't out there a million times over, give me quality, not quantity. It's all about the tailoring, all about the fabrics and the fit. So
Parsons really produces some of the best talent in the business, and what you see here is hours of dedication, sleepless nights, and a drive and a passion.
I think one of the most striking things about what the students have done is there's literally nothing between what they've done and what you'd find hanging in the best stores in the city or around the world.
4 years passed by so fast, even though at the time it felt so slow. Right now it's crazy just looking back and realizing that we've actually gone this far.
I am looking forward to what is next. I think that's part of being a visionary. You don't hold on too much to things that you've done in the past. You just look forward.
My teachers were so supportive and nurturing in every aspect of this process.
it was very emotional. It was a very emotional process, but I loved it.
Wow, like a whirlwind. I still haven't even had time to catch my breath and really absorb it all.
All of a sudden, we have this ceremony, officially releasing.
No!
So it was really a surprising rush of nostalgia.
You know what? I think that we will be friends forever.
It's nice to have people to go through it with because this is such a unique experience. You don't get this at any other school.
It's really, really tough, and you learn so much about yourself. And I really do feel that
after going through these 4 years, I can do anything.
Okay, in spite of what I said earlier, I've taken too much time up. We can't answer any questions right now, but I promise to answer any questions online, via Twitter, or out the front when we go out for a cup of tea after the next excellent speaker. So, we are Parsons. Thank you very much.